It's 9 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. It's a special meeting. Pipestone County Commissioners, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good morning. We're having a special meeting today to declare a state of emergency due to excessive rainfall and pass the resolution for that. So it's resolution 593219. If you gentlemen have anything more you want to talk about it before we take action?
Do we need to move on the agenda? If so, I'll move the agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second to approve the agenda as presented. Any further discussion? Not all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have Highway Engineer Nick Bergman, if you want to go ahead and open it up.
I don't have all the details just yet. You know, we're still working on this. Water's still going down, getting roads back open. There was 12 segments closed overnight, the first night, which totaled 13 and a half miles. Water went over in about 90 locations. Spring event was worse, what we're thinking so far. We're advertising for a gravel bid. We're getting pretty low on gravel, and then we're gonna need a lot with this, so we need to probably purchase some outside gravel.
Yeah.
And then we need to pump some water out of our pit too, so in an effort to speed things up, get roads back open, that's why we're looking at this state of emergency here.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Jared, move for approval of the resolution.
And I will second the resolution.
Okay, we have a motion second to pass resolution 593219. Any further discussion?
I guess not specific discussion about the resolution, just in general. Thank you for the good work that you guys and your crews are doing. Pass it along to them.
Yes, we'll do. Yep.
Mr. Chairman, what will happen now once the resolution is passed is that we'll be requesting through emergency management through the state we're going to do we need a local damage assessment to come up with dollars that we've got. We need to report that to the state, and we'll request that the state do a damage assessment. Chances are pretty minimal that we will, I shouldn't say that, let me step back. Our federal assistance amount is $36,272. I don't believe this will reach the level of a state or of a federal disaster within the state. So to reach the threshold for a state damage assistance, it's half of the federal, which is $18,136. So that would be our avenue that we'd primarily go with. So I don't think you'd have any problem finding $18,000 in damages to our Category C roads and bridges. So what we're talking about is public assistance, as are normally. We rarely ever get a private assistance for personal damage. So just as a reminder, the categories that we work in for public assistance is Category A, which is debris clearance. So it'll be cleaning out culverts, if we had to demolish things, pick up garbage, trash, whatever need to be done. Category B is protective measures. That's things like security control, barricading, those types of things. So if you had any of those work. Category C is roads and bridges, which is we'll be working on primarily here, which is roads, streets, guardrails, sidewalks, curb, gutters, culverts, bridges, etc. If there was any damage to Category D, which is water control facilities, which is dams, levees. Category E is buildings and equipment. If we had any damage to any public buildings, would be categorized there. Category F is utilities, storm sewer, sanitary, lift stations, power generation, transmission, distribution, solid waste disposal. And Category G would be recreation and other, which is parks, docks, piers, grass, and landscape to any county or city. So by the county declaring this and requesting public assistance, that would allow our cities, if they had damage, to report their damage as well and be included aggregate into that $18,136. So if the city of Pipestone had damage, and any of the other cities in the county as well, Edgerton, if they had damage to, say, Rock River Park or something like that down there that we know flooded, quite badly a few years ago too. So those are the kind of things that Casey, when she gets back from her EM conference, will start working with the cities, townships, gathering the data. We'll aggregate it all together, get it to the state and say, yep, we need a damage assessment. They'll come down and do that, and then we'll see how we fare with the 18,000. I presume we'll have that with the county very easily within, like, I'm sure you're already there.
Imagine.
That doesn't take much anymore. So that would be the plan at this point. So step one is this, step two is notify the state, and then part of step two is also get our damages, start getting a listing of what we believe the damage costs are, and then the state will come down and look those over and, compare, see if we're on track or not. So that'll be where we're going after this.
Nick, as the water recedes, how many of our roads are still going to be impassable even after the water's gone because of culverts, bridges washed out and so forth?
I don't know of any bridge washouts yet, which is huge to me, because in 14, we had that one southwest of Edgerton on a 2-year-old bridge or whatever, and I want to say, if my memory serves me right, that was about $100,000 repair. So if we don't have any of that, I'm really happy, because everything else is a lot more manageable.
And some of that you won't be able to assess until the water does recede and you see how much erosion there's been on the banks and so forth.
Correct. Yeah, we've had it before. I think it was if I remember right, it's in 2010, we were cleaning up corn stalks. A week or two later on one bridge, and we're scooping them out, and
It's
it
always
looks
a
like it
boil.
was just 6 inches along the side of the road, and
Yep.
it went a couple feet into the road. You couldn't tell. It was just
Where it boiled out, where the water
Yeah.
got in there.
Yeah, so a lot of this stuff can pop up. You don't know it at first till you're cleaning up, and all of a sudden, whoa.
There's a lot less trash this time than there was then because of the time of the year.
Yeah, that was.
Like in the park at Edgerton, there's virtually nothing there, just a few
Okay.
things floating around, but.
Right, that 20.
It's all rinsed away because the corn's still in the field, the beans are still in the field, kind of trapped all that
Yep.
debris coming around and it didn't amount to much. But yeah, there's some areas that need fixed.
Yeah. I think that 2010 was the end of September, if I remember right. So,
Last time there was corn stalks were a big issue all over the county
Right,
because they
right.
just washed out of every cornfield. And now they kind of stayed in there because there's still corn in the field. But
The worst we might have this time is some hay or hay bales, round bales that get washed out.
yeah,
our-
I think we had one round bale wash and kind of partially block a culvert. Yeah, so that happens. That's not uncommon to have that happen. So.
Seen some news reports elsewhere where there were culverts washed out on blacktops and the drivers couldn't see them and just drove right into the ravine, the culvert. That's tragic, so.
Oh, it is. Yeah, absolutely. That's why we're so worried about it when
The
it
importance,
happens.
and you can't see it. It's raining, it's black, you can't see where you're going. and-
Yeah, we'll close roads, and unfortunately, you see a lot of people driving around barricades,
Yeah.
but that's all we can do. So.
you can't stop that, so.
No.
That's just the way it is.
No,
But as we saw on TV from some that did in South Dakota, when the trucks landed on the culvert that was collapsed. And of course, they'll get ticketed and their truck got wrecked because they went around the barricades.
okay. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
Nah, but-
Okay, you
Yes,
need a
sir.
vote yet? or-
Yeah, we do need,
Yeah.
called it. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So the board knows the city did declare a resolution. They may be resending it today or tomorrow. Jeff emailed this morning, wasn't sure exactly if they're going to, but wanted to know what the county was going to do, and I said we would proceed.
Yeah.
Anyway, this, because also opens the door for other cities to join with us as well. So we want to do it even if there are no other damages. We have enough of our own to deal with, so it just makes sense to do that. So,
Absolutely.
but we got to remember too, the ditch in Pipestone came up to historic level this time. It was over 21 feet, which is pretty much uncharted territory. We haven't been there before. And
When you say the ditch came up to a record level, where was that at?
that would be at the reading right at the Highway 23 bridge at Highway
The
75.
highway wasn't covered, was it?
No, the water level in the ditch was at 21.5 feet, which is the highest level we've recorded.
But in 93, the water was, I mean, over the highway by feet. And when that, mean the ditch was that high also?
I'm sure it was.
I mean, that would be more
The
than,
93 level was not as high. That's listed on the website. I think, was it 19? I can't remember exactly what it was in 93, but this was higher than 93.
I guess I'm a little confused by that, because in 93, I drove to town, and Dave Halbersma was wading through a foot of water on Highway 23 between John Deere and town, and told me that it was passable, or, you know, the road was safe, so I continued on to town. But when I got to the intersection of the two highways, there was over 3 feet rushing through that intersection. And I watched a pickup go through. It was over the bed of a full-size pickup. And then a smaller car came by and it got washed away, and I thought that guy was kind of a fool, but I mean, if it was that deep over the highway, wouldn't that be higher than what, I mean, the highway didn't even get covered this time. I don't quite understand how they measure that.
I don't know either.
I
That's
don't
just what the
either.
website said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just wondered
Maybe
if
the measurements were different then. Maybe they didn't have the same gauge structure they have now with the digital recordings and things that they have almost hourly. Maybe it was, you know, we're talking, what, 26 years ago?
Right,
You know, it may not have been the same technology, but
but I mean, I don't know how you can say it was taller when the highway wasn't even covered. And
Yeah, that's not our measurement.
no,
That's
I'm
off the-
reporting what the National Weather Service reported
Right.
on the river gauge, so that's, I'm not making that up. so.
No, I understand that, but I just question
Yeah.
their methodology there, I
Yeah.
guess.
But at any rate, it was a lot of water.
Yeah,
Came up quick and went away quick.
right.
This was more reminiscent of the 2010 September flood, where we had the rain, it came up quick, and then we sandbagged, and it was already done and gone before we could really, you know, do a whole lot with it, unfortunately. And the northeast side of Pipestone sustained a lot of water in that area again, too.
Oh, yeah, it looked pretty rough in some of
It
those
did.
places.
Well, just so we don't get a big rain again this afternoon.
It's supposed to rain more?
Predicting some rain later today.
Yeah, actually, through the weekend, they're talking we could get
Yeah,
inches
it rained a
more.
week.
Really?
Yeah.
Supposed to be hot today and that's thunder showers.
Well, I saw that it's gonna heat up again.
85
Gonna
today.
generate some more.
Good. Never figured it out one way or another, so.
You ready to adjourn the meeting?
Sure. Is there any other business to come before the board? We have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Motion second to adjourn. We stand adjourned.
Bruce, do you make motion?
Yes.
Thank you.
Seconded? Luke, thank you.
You've got gravel available to you to purchase?
Yes.
Good.
Yep, I found 4 or 5, I can't
No.
remember, 4 or 5 different